Welcome to Dream Tales Sleep Stories. Tonight's reading is The Runaway Penguin. Settle into your bed or sofa and let your shoulders, jaw, and eyelids grow heavy. Inhale slowly, 1, 2, 3, and sigh the air away, allowing the day to fade into quiet dark. With every soft inhale, you invite fresh English phrases. With every gentle exhale, stray thoughts drift farther off. Behind my voice flows a gentle 528 Hz melody, renowned for guiding the mind toward deep relaxation. Keep your eyes closed or follow the captions, whichever feels right. Simply receive the rhythm and resonance of the language. Deep in rest, tonight's phrases will take root like seeds, ready to bloom into stronger English skills with the morning light. When you feel settled, hold that unhurried breath and allow yourself to drift into the tale. The Runaway Penguin begins now. And when the story's final line has faded, the music will linger a little longer, carrying you gently deeper into sleep. The Runaway Penguin. Pip was a young penguin who lived in the city zoo. Every day, he watched the same gray walls and listened to the same sounds of visitors taking photos. He had never seen the ocean, but something deep inside him knew that penguins belonged near the sea. The other penguins in his enclosure seemed happy enough. They had a nice pool to swim in, regular meals of fresh fish, and many visitors who loved to watch them waddle around. But Pip was different. He spent hours staring at the sky, watching seagulls fly overhead and wondering where they came from. "Why do you always look so sad?" asked Penny, an older penguin who had lived in the zoo her whole life. "I'm not sad," Pip replied. "I'm just curious. Don't you wonder what's beyond these walls?" Penny shook her head. "This is our home. We have everything we need right here." But Pip couldn't stop thinking about the world outside. He had heard the zookeepers talking about the ocean, describing its vast blue waters and endless horizons. At night, he dreamed of swimming in waves instead of the small circular pool. One morning, Pip noticed something unusual. The maintenance workers had left a ladder against the wall of the penguin enclosure while they fixed a broken light. His heart began to race with excitement. This was his chance. He waited until the zookeepers finished feeding them and left for their lunch break. The other penguins were taking their afternoon nap, lying on the artificial rocks in the sunshine. Pip quietly waddled toward the ladder, looking around to make sure no one was watching. Climbing a ladder is not easy when you have flippers instead of hands. But Pip was determined. He used his beak to grip the rungs and slowly, carefully, made his way up. His heart pounded as he reached the top of the wall. For the first time in his life, Pip saw the world beyond the zoo. There were tall buildings, busy streets, and so many colors and sounds he had never experienced. He took a deep breath and jumped down on the other side, landing with a soft thump in a bush. "I'm free," he whispered to himself, hardly believing It was real. But freedom was more complicated than Pip had imagined. The streets were full of dangers he had never faced before. Cars zoomed past at terrifying speeds, and people pointed and shouted when they saw him waddling down the sidewalk. "Is that a penguin?" a child yelled, tugging on his mother's hand. "Call the zoo," someone else shouted, pulling out their phone. Pip realized he needed to hide. He spotted an alley between two buildings and quickly waddled into the shadows. His feet hurt from walking on the hot concrete. So different from the cool surfaces in his enclosure. In the alley, he met his first friend outside the zoo, a street-smart cat named Max. The gray tabby was searching through garbage cans when he spotted Pip. "Well, well," Max said, his green eyes widening. "You're a long way from Antarctica, aren't you?" "I'm from the zoo," Pip explained. "I'm trying to find the ocean. Can you help me?" Max laughed, but not unkindly. "The ocean? That's miles away, little guy. You'll never make it on those tiny legs." "I have to try," Pip said firmly. "I've never seen the real ocean, and I need to know what it's like." The cat studied him for a moment, then nodded. "I admire your spirit. I know someone who might be able to help. Follow me." Max led Pip through a maze of alleys and back streets, keeping to the shadows to avoid being seen. They arrived at a park where a flock of pigeons was pecking at breadcrumbs. "Rosa," Max called out, "I need your help." A plump pigeon looked up and flew over to them. "Max, what have you brought me now? Is that a penguin?" "This is Pip," Max explained. "He's trying to reach the ocean. Think your flock could help?" Rosa circled Pip, examining him closely. "You're either very brave or very foolish," she said. "The ocean is far, and the journey is dangerous, but I can see in your eyes that you won't give up." She called to her flock, and soon Pip was surrounded by dozens of pigeons. They discussed the best route to the ocean, arguing about which streets to avoid and where to find food along the way. "We can't carry you," Rosa said, "but we can scout ahead and warn you of dangers. The ocean is to the west. Follow the setting sun, and you'll find it eventually." For the next 2 days, Pip traveled through the city with his new friends guiding him. The pigeons flew overhead, calling out warnings when they spotted animal control officers searching for him. Max showed him safe places to rest and where to find water. They faced many challenges along the way. Once, Pip had to hide in a dumpster when zoo workers nearly caught him. Another time, he got lost in a shopping mall and had to be rescued by Max, who created a distraction by knocking over a display of canned goods. The hardest part was crossing the highway. Cars rushed past in an endless stream, and Pip stood at the edge, trembling with fear. "You can do this," Rosa encouraged him from above. "Wait for the gap, then run as fast as you can." Pip watched the traffic pattern, his heart pounding. When he saw his chance, he waddled as fast as his legs could carry him. Cars honked and swerved, but he made it to the other side, collapsing in the grass, breathing heavily. "That was close," Max said, joining him. "But you did it." As they continued west, the city began to change. the buildings became smaller, and Pip could smell something different in the air. A salty, fresh scent that made his heart race with excitement. On the third night of his journey, Pip climbed a small hill and saw it, the ocean. The moon reflected on the water, creating a silver path that seemed to lead to infinity. Waves crashed against the shore with a rhythm that felt like home, even though he had never heard it before. "It's beautiful," Pip whispered, tears forming in his eyes. "Go on," Max said gently. "This is what you came for." Pip waddled down to the beach, feeling the sand between his toes for the first time. The ocean was bigger than anything he had imagined, stretching beyond the horizon in every direction. He stepped into the water, and a wave washed over his feet. It was cold and wonderful. He dove in, and suddenly everything made sense. This was what his body was made for. Not a small circular pool, but the vast, wild ocean. He swam and dove, riding the waves with a joy he had never experienced before. After swimming for hours, Pip returned to the beach where Max and Rosa were waiting. "So, what now?" Rosa asked. "Will you stay here?" Pip looked at the ocean, then back at his friends. He thought about the other penguins at the zoo who would never experience this freedom. He thought about Penny, who didn't even know what she was missing. "I don't know," he said honestly. "Part of me wants to stay here forever. But part of me wonders if I should go back and tell the others what I've discovered." Max nodded wisely. Sometimes the greatest adventure isn't just about finding what you're looking for. It's about deciding what to do once you've found it. As the sun began to rise over the ocean, Pip made his decision. He would stay by the sea for a few days, learning what it meant to be a wild penguin. Then he would return to the zoo, not as a prisoner, but as a teacher. He would share his story with the other penguins and help them understand that there was a whole world beyond their walls. "Thank you," Pip said to his friends. "I couldn't have done this without you." "That's what friends are for," Rosa said, ruffling her feathers. "Just promise you'll be careful," Max added. "The world can be dangerous for a small penguin." Pip promised, but he wasn't afraid anymore. He had faced his fears and discovered who he really was. Whether he lived in the zoo or by the ocean, he would never forget this adventure and the friends who had helped him find his way. As he dove back into the waves for one more swim, Pip realized that home wasn't just a place. It was knowing who you are and having the courage to be yourself, no matter where life takes you. The runaway penguin had found more than the ocean. He had found himself. you